So the first part in my higher design and manufacture revision is looking at performance. I'm reading pages 48 to 51 in my higher course textbook, and I'm wanting to make some wee notes for myself about that. So the first thing I notice is that there's 3 subheadings across that chapter, so I'm going to use them as kind of mini titles in my sketch note here. And the first one there is maintenance. When I read through the paragraph on maintenance, the key thing that sticks out for me is that maintenance is about keeping the product in good working order and what we can do to extend the life of the product. So remember, this is a sketch note that we're doing, and we're trying to take 4 pages from the textbook and bring it all down onto 1 page in a way that I'm going to remember. So I'm going to use images in here, and the image that's conjured up when I think about maintenance for me personally is a toolbox. So I'm thinking about little odds and ends that I might have in there to keep a product in working order. Maybe a wee spanner to tighten things up, a wee paintbrush to give it a wee lick of paint now and again, obviously depending on the product. That image might not work for everybody. You might have a different image in your head that will make you remember. So it's important to get the right image for you. Other issues that we thought about when we spoke about how you keep a product in good working order were things like cleaning the product and things like having a battery charged, or how easy it was to charge the battery. Good storage was also something that we considered as a class. The next subheading for us to think about is value for money. Now, value for money is often confused with cheap, and I want you to kind of get that idea out of your head. Value for money does not mean that a product is cheap. It simply means that the quality of the product is reflected in the price. So a good wee image for me for value for money is a balance, a seesaw, where you're trying to get it to sit perfectly between the value and how much you've paid for it. So how will you know if your product is offering good value for money? Well, you're going to need to go and carry out some research, and during that research you will find out what are the function must-haves for your product, what are the things that it has got to do, and then you'll compare that to performance should-haves. What are people thinking that it would be nice for this product to do? And then in amongst all that, you'll also find out how long people expect to be able to use that product for. So when we think about it, there's a lot that a designer or the design team have to think about when they're considering value for money. Let's put this in the context of a product that we're familiar with. Let's look at something like a toaster, right? Quite a simple product. If I look at what other people charge for a toaster, and then look at what the target market's expectations are, that's where I should find what my cost area is. So a function must have for a toaster would be that it can toast bread, but performance extras might be things like it gives you the opportunity to toast bagels or muffins or other things like that. And I would need to look to see where my price range sat compared to other products that could do that. The quality of the materials and the manufacturing processes being used are also something that we have to consider. And we can't try and trick consumers these days, because at a click of a button they can go online to get reviews instantaneously about our product. So the third area to consider for performance is planned obsolescence. Now, planned obsolescence links very, very closely with the last point in value for money. How long is this product supposed to last? Now, planned obsolescence sounds like a really big fancy word, but really all it means is, as a designer, as a design company, we have a strategy for how long a product should be in use. So when we think about the lifespan of a product, it's very easy just to think about the part where it's in our home, but we do want to think about it right from the start. So we think about it during manufacture, we think about it when it's being sold, and then we think about it when it's in our house, and then the final stage is what happens to it when it gets disposed of. So again, because I'm trying to do a wee sketch note here, I'm just putting really simple graphics in here to try and trigger my memory into what these things are. Now, depending on the product, some products will have a lifespan of a day, for how long that they are actually in physical use, disposable items, and others could be expected to last tens and hundreds of years. It just depends on the product. So it's all about how long your product is expected to last. So planned obsolescence is all about making sure that repeat purchasing continues to happen, that people will replace their product at a given time. There's usually two main ways that this happens. There is style obsolescence and there is product evolution. So style obsolescence tends to happen with more fashionable products. So the example here is of a trainer, right? Footwear, something like that. Something that changes, fashions change, and therefore the aesthetic of what people are looking for in that product changes, and also perhaps the materials that are being used, the materials that are in fashion can also change, making people go and buy more products. Product evolution is about when there's new advances in technology that make people want to replace their phone. How many times have you upgraded your phone? Not because it's not working anymore, but because there is a better phone now available on the market. So ways that planned obsolescence can be included in a design is thinking about style obsolescence and thinking about product evolution. Now, just to kind of tie everything up with performance, I want to just mention something about how easy a product is to maintain, how easy it is to follow all these things to make sure that it stays in working order. Now, when we're doing that, we really do need to think about the skill level of the person who's doing this. Is it something that anybody who has the right tool can go ahead and do? So, for example, changing a light bulb. There's not really a specialist skill needed with that. If it's something as simple as that, then we're okay. However, if it goes to something that's maybe a little bit more complex, like replacing the screen on your phone, or replacing a heating element in your tumble dryer, perhaps that needs to go to a specialist person. So considering how easy it is to repair or replace a product is a way of considering how easy it is to maintain. So the example in the textbook talks a little bit about disposable razors versus reusable razors. So I'm going to consider that just now in terms of maintenance. If I was shaving my legs using a disposable razor, I would have plenty benefits there in terms of maintenance, because there is literally zero maintenance for me to do. Every time I pick up my razor, it's sharp. I do not need to clean it. I do not need to change it or sharpen it. And it literally goes in the bin when I am complete. There's obviously a negative impact on the environment as a result of that though, because every time I use that razor, I'm then putting it in the bin and obviously contributing to landfill and things like that. So while the lack of maintenance is great, the impact on the environment is not so great. When we talk about reusable razors, you change the little head. So there's a maintenance issue there, and that we need to make sure it's easy for it to clip in. It's still a sharp object, so is that going to be safe for the user? How do we know when to replace it? How do I know I'm not picking up a blunt razor? So there's a balance there for us to consider as a designer. One of the great things about using reusable razors is, as a company, I'm going to kind of guarantee that I'm going to get repeat purchases there, because people are going to replace those razor heads. So in amongst everything in performance, we are looking for repeat purchases all the time, because if our brand, our products are renowned with the quality and the high performance that we hope we've designed into them, we're going to get that repeat purchase and that customer loyalty. And again, that links back in to our planned obsolescence around product evolution. So there you have it, 4 pages from a textbook, narrowed down onto one A4 page, lots of little images to trigger my memory, little small splashes of colour to focus on the key parts. A really good way for me to process what I've read and give me a reference point when it comes time to answering questions.